Ready for a deep dive that feels straight out of science fiction?
Let's do it.
Today, we're tackling a paper with a name that might sound a little intimidating at first.
Lay it on me.
A scalable pipeline for designing reconfigurable organisms. But believe me, the research itself is even wilder than the title.
It's definitely next level stuff. We're talking about scientists using AI to actually design and build brand new life forms.
So not just like tweaking existing organisms, but creating them from scratch.
You got it. And not just creating them for the sake of it. We're talking about building organisms with specific functions, tiny biological machines.
Okay, so it's like AI is dreaming up new life forms, but instead of on a canvas, it's in a petri dish.
That's a great way to think about it. At the heart of this is something called an evolutionary algorithm. Imagine survival of the fittest, but instead of playing out in the wild, it's happening inside a computer simulation.
So like a digital petri dish, like
Yeah.
a video game where you can design creatures.
Exactly. They've created this virtual world where they can test out millions of combinations of these cellular building blocks.
Cellular building blocks.
Yeah, think of it like they're using different types of fells, kind of like Legos.
And the AI is just, what, throwing these cellular Legos together to see what sticks?
Well, it's a little more directed than that. See, the AI has a goal in mind. Let's say the researchers want to design a creature that can move a certain distance. The algorithm tries out different combinations of cells, sees how well they perform in the simulation, and here's the really cool part. It learns from its mistakes.
So the AI is like a master builder, but it's constantly refining its technique based on what works and what doesn't.
Exactly. The designs that don't work are thrown out,
Mhm.
and the ones that are successful are, you could say, bred to create slightly modified versions of themselves. It's this constant cycle of iteration and improvement.
That's wild. But, real biology is messy. How do you go from these perfectly simulated creatures to something that actually exists in the real world?
That's the million-dollar question, right? Bridging that gap between this elegant simulation and the chaotic beauty of actual biology.
Yeah.
Actually, early on, the researchers ran into a pretty interesting problem.
Oh, what happened? Did the AI start designing creatures that were just too out there to actually exist?
Kind of. You see, since the simulation wasn't limited by the laws of physics, it could come up with these incredibly efficient but totally unrealistic designs. We're talking about things like creatures that could basically teleport across the digital petri dish.
They were like digital super amoebas or something. So what do they do about that?
Well, they had to find a way to make the simulation a lot more true to life. Think about it. It's like if you were designing a robot to walk on water, but your simulation didn't factor in, the water.
That robot's in for a surprise.
Exactly. They realized that to make this work, they had to build in things like water resistance, the physical limitations of real muscle tissue, even just the fact that real biological systems aren't perfectly in sync.
So less like perfectly tuned machines, more like, well, us, a little bit messy. But how did they actually take these designs from the computer and bring them into the real world?
They took the best designs from the simulation and, get this, recreated them using frog cells.
Wait, hold on. They actually built these things using living cells. How is that even possible?
Very, very carefully. They used this tool called a microcautery tool. Think of kind of like a microscopic soldering iron to carefully nudge these frog cell aggregates into the right shapes.
It's like they're sculpting life under a microscope. That's amazing. But did it work? Did these, what did they call them, xenobots? Did they actually work?
That's the really incredible part. These AI-designed organisms were able to move around on their own, pick up and move objects, even show some basic group behaviors. And the thing is, these are completely new life forms designed from the ground up. We've never seen anything quite like it before.
That's mind-blowing. But what can they actually do? What's the real-world potential of all this? Okay, I got to ask, what can these things actually do? What's the real-world potential here?
Well, it's early days, but the potential applications are incredibly exciting. Imagine microscopic biological robots designed for super targeted drug delivery.
Okay.
Like they could carry medication directly to a tumor,
Oh, wow.
minimizing side effects and maximizing effectiveness.
So instead of chemo that affects your whole body, you'd have these like tiny programmable surgeons going in with pinpoint accuracy. That's incredible.
Exactly. And since these xenobots are made from organic material, they're potentially biocompatible and biodegradable.
Ah, okay.
They could just be naturally broken down by the body after they've done their job, which would really reduce the risk of rejection or long-term problems.
Yeah, which is a big concern with a lot of the traditional treatment options. What about outside of medical applications? Any other potential uses for this technology?
Absolutely. One area researchers are really excited about is environmental remediation.
Hmm.
So imagine deploying xenobots to clean up oil spills
Oh, wow.
or to break down plastic pollution in our oceans.
Okay.
These organisms could be designed with a specific purpose, tackling environmental challenges at the microscopic level.
So we could have these like tiny environmental superheroes cleaning up the messes we've made. That almost feels like something out of a comic book. It's amazing to think about all the possibilities, but it also feels like we're stepping into uncharted territory here. I mean, where do we even go from here? What's next for this technology?
Well, one of the most crucial aspects of this research is how transparent it is.
Yeah.
The team that developed these xenobots has made their findings and even their simulation tools available to the public.
Oh, that's great.
They're encouraging other scientists to explore this new frontier, responsibly and collaboratively.
That's really reassuring to hear. It sounds like there's a strong emphasis on open collaboration and responsible development, which is great. Still, this technology brings up so many fascinating questions. If we can design life to carry out specific tasks, what does it even mean to be alive? It really blurs the lines in ways we've never had to consider before.
You hit the nail on the head. This research isn't just about creating cool new biological robots. It's making us rethink some of our most basic assumptions about what life itself actually is. And that's what makes it so captivating.
It's definitely given us all a lot to think about. And to your listeners, we'd love to hear your thoughts. What are your hopes or concerns about this groundbreaking technology? Head to our website or find us on social media to join the conversation. And, as always, thanks for taking this incredible deep dive with us.